Hi, I'm Kalissee Adams, and this is me.
I'm Marc Adams.
And Marc Adams.
How you doing?
My husband. And we run the ELGN. Marc is the president, and I'm the vice president of the ELGN. And we're also the Church of Babalon. And
CEO,
we run our organization based on the fact that it's a nonprofit, that it also works as a church, and we call ourselves a church because we're under the church tax ID, and so that we can get this knowledge out there to the people with the benefits of being a church. So where we wouldn't have that opportunity if we weren't operating as a church. So we also are getting ready because we have just gotten the go that we can rent the back garages now from the new man that bought the property, and I can start food pantry back there now. And so we're getting ready to start doing food drives for the community and quite a few things. And we talked about out there in some posts, we were talking about that we wanted a new system of government. We wanted change, and we were for change. And I put up quite a post up, and it got quite a few comments. And the thing is that we want you as a people to figure out what you value and what things matter to you. And then we want you to choose to go out there and help people in the community through what's important to you. To me is that I see a lot of people on Social Security and disabled, and them not getting their needs met. They struggle to eat, they struggle to feed their children, they're hurting. And when we are in these survival type modes, we're not able to focus on our spirituality. We're not able to focus on a damn thing, because all we are doing as a species is surviving. And this is why this master-slave mentality has to stop. And, so we want, through the Church of Babylon, to teach you guys how to reverse these values so that you can become the king.
Yeah, the sovereign.
The sovereign, not the slave anymore.
Right.
And so
be able to think for yourself authentically and not through these brainwashed programs. It's these programs, okay, red is better than blue, or blue is better than red. I don't understand that kind of program, As an authentic being, I look at how does it affect everybody, holistically. How does my choice affect other people? I don't just do something. I look at how it's going to affect everybody. Here, put it over here, baby. I look at how it's going to affect everybody, and consider all of the consequences of that action before I take it. That's accepting absolute responsibility over your own life. You have the ability to create your own life worth living.
And that's what I'd like to interrupt there.
Okay.
So, through the process that Marc developed, that was for the Church of Babylon, which we are finishing up the book right now. I'm still going through it. It originally started out, it was just a workbook for people that joined our organization. And then things didn't play out exactly the way that we thought they were going to. So what we've done is we've changed the system. We've changed the way we've been doing things. And what we want is we want you guys to be able to buy the book. There are specific lessons in it. And then we want to offer this as like an 8-week introductory course, which we are considering charging a $40 fee to come do the 8-week course with us, and then you buy the book, which will be another $20, because I think we're going to let it go at $19.95. Is where it's going to go. So we're not making a killing off of it. It's going to be
just the proceeds go to
the church.
The church itself, and being able to continue to do the various projects, like for instance, Kalissee was talking about the food pantry.
Yeah.
Well, the food pantry, we're going to have to acquire refrigerators, which will probably have to be rented, freezers, so we can keep the food in the freezers. We even talked about having to possibly rent another place, like a physical building,
Eventually,
to actually keep the food there. Security, like we're concerned about cameras, how do we protect the food from people who would pillage or try to, take the food.
So the money would end up eventually.
So all of this money,
website.
Right? All of this money would go to creating a website. We've wanted to create a website. We went through, was it Webs? Was it Webs? I think Wix. We went through Wix, but the thing was it was trying to charge to be able to utilize your videos.
So
and for some videos, I didn't want to charge anything for them. I wanted people to be able to watch them for free. And the thing was trying to tell me I had to, charge a fee to be able to have, this ability on my site. And I was like, no, this is crazy. I don't want this. So I literally got mad and I got rid of the whole thing. I deleted the whole website. But I mean, we'd like to eventually put everything that we've been doing on our website. The books, the materials, everything that we utilize,
And, it was such an awakening. It was such, that's the chain that we saw on the page, with the insignia, and we have several others and some coffee mugs and stuff. Anything that happens through that, the proceeds all go for maintaining the church. So,
and you might want to also explain to them with Lulu, we have to buy our own book.
Yeah, we have to buy our own book
and
to be able to
proofread it.
And proofread it before that.
Right.
To approve it for publishing and things.
Right.
So
it helps with that, and it.
Okay, you're getting sidetracked.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so what Marc created when we did the church was absolutely amazing. I mean, we had a core group that went through with us. And it was my first time through. It was knowledge that Marc had. Some of it paralleled to other areas that I had studied in my life through. I went to school to be a licensed alcohol and drug abuse counselor, which I graduated. So I worked in the mental health industry. I worked for many different hospitals and things. And Marc was going to school to be a psychologist and psychiatrist. Clinical psychologist. And,
right.
And,
to create an applied psychology in the world, to actually learn to create, like Carl Jung had his own psychological system. That's what I was going to school to do.
So what we were trying to establish is we just want an outlet to help people. We want an outlet to show people how they are 100% responsible, how they can change it, and then what they need to do from there. Because it's a 10-week course. It's going to take you across the abyss. We're going to strip away every part of you. But when that's done, you've got to rebuild yourself. And in doing that, you work your shadow side. And you
got to be strong. This is a path of the strong.
It is a path of the strong.
It is, really, because when you're going through this and you're going through the process of dissolution, of realizing what you aren't versus what you are, and that you need to shed that off, that's what the great work is all about. being able to live a life worth living, a life that is based on power guided by wisdom, you know. So we were talking about the lovers the other day.
I wasn't done with this.
Okay.
This part.
All right.
So what we decided was after the core group, because it was so hard to keep everybody at a same. Well, Marc was developing the system as we were going through it, based on what came to him through channeling, and it just was amazing what everybody got from it. And I started creating a workbook. It was just a workbook that, where we thought we were going to be working with people. So when all of a sudden people started showing interest in actually getting the book, we decided, well, we're going to go ahead and add the other book, which was my journal, to what I got from the course. And it was Marc coming in and with explicit details, because he's like an encyclopedia. He's like a freaking computer system. He just is like, okay, this book, this page, this, that, this, refer. So, the original workbook, it does give you, when we put it out in the next couple of weeks, it does give you a lot more in-depth detail with what we're coming out with. And it's amazing. And it just flowed from us. And we want you guys to have it. And then we want you to know that what we've been doing since then is we're teaching people in phase 2 archetypal patterns.
Explain phase 2.
And so phase 2 is the way of the circle. It's by the Indian Cherokee. Way of the circle is where it kind of originated from, the history of that kind of brought that into an existence, combined with 40 years of occult knowledge that brought in Freemasonry, alchemy, and the archetypal. We work with animal druidic cards. We take those and we apply those, and then we have the books that actually have rituals that you can do. They have what your oracle meant. I mean, I almost draw an oracle card every day, and I'm looking at what pattern is going to afflict me, or is afflicting me at that very moment, or is going to be my issue for that day. And we're actually working it, living it, manifesting it. So what you've been seeing us do on the Church of Babalon page,
right,
is going through this book here. And this is a book on alchemy. It's Awakening the Heroes Within by Carol S. Pearson. And we're taking you through this, and we're trying to give you just kind of we haven't gotten into it that deep. But as we do this, I'm working this. Marc's working this. And I don't care how many times you've worked this, you can work it again and again and again. And every time it's going to be at a deeper level.
Right.
And it's going to deepen who you are and what you value, because that's what's going to come out.
Right.
And how to operate in this higher aspect. So we slowed down a little bit this week. We were working the levers. And we are working to generate that total pure bliss intimacy that goes way beyond sex. I mean, but that's what we're working toward. And we don't want highs and lows in our marriage anymore. We want a steady, consistent, good communication skill to bliss. And we are working to accomplish that in our marriage through working on ourselves. And, it takes a lot out of you, because when we start working with shadow side and the spirits and the gods and calling in these things, we begin to awaken, and then things come up and we have to deal with them. And as we deal with them, then we go, okay, and then you start to see how you've done this over and over and over, all the way back into your childhood. And you see where this pattern developed and how this pattern developed and why this particular pattern is dominant in your life, and what is it that I've got to do to move to the higher aspect of my greatest potential based on what I value. And when I can help me, then I can be there for others. I can't help you or anyone else if I'm not taken care of first. And I need to first get myself out of survival mode. First realize what the patterns are that are keeping me in survival mode instead of allowing me to flourish. And then gain from there a deeper aspect to...
And those would be the first 4.
Right. And here, I'm going to let Mark talk to you some more because he's really good at this.
Okay. So those would be the first 4 that she talked about. And
we've gone over in the school.
The first one we talked about, they're broken up into 3 mandalas. And it's the preparation, the journey, and the return. Okay? A lot of people go through this process and they get stuck in the process. They don't return with the wisdom. You don't see it in their life. They're still living through the container of preparation.
Because it was first phase that brought me to wisdom that allows me to do this.
Then the next pattern, well, we dealt with the innocent. And the innocent pattern is you basically lose your cherry. You're changed by that realization that it's not the way you thought it was. It's not that way at all. Then it proceeds into the orphan. And the orphan pattern is within all of us through the Great Mother, the mother and the son. We see that archetypally throughout religion. We see it with Joseph Campbell. We see that same myth playing out over and over and over again because that deals with the orphan. And the orphan has to develop trust. It's all about trust. It's all about safety. Okay? And when the world is shown to be not a safe place, not a place you can trust, you can lose yourself in destructive patterns, that just take over.
So you get hurt again and again. You hear of the person that gets in a bad relationship. They always pick a man that's abusive. It's a pattern.
Codependency. That
you're stuck in. And you go, can I just not find a decent man? Can I just not, can I just not find the right job? There's 1,000 different scenarios that this can take place in your life.
All done. It's all done.
So, open that up.
So we have all these different places.
So we're going to show you again what we're talking about, the mandala. It's in the front. It's the 3 mandalas. They're really good. We should recreate them so that they can see them in the group on a graphic.
I think we really need a board.
Yeah.
We need to get a board.
Yeah.
Mark, I have no idea.
Yeah, let me see it. I know where it is.
I know you know where it is. You're making me look. So, Yeah, so, there's a structure plan through these books, and you're going to go
Well, it's
through
deterministic. It's
the ego, the
right.
soul, and the spirit.
Right. Those are the three containers again. Preparation, the journey, and
it's over and over
return.
and over and everything.
Right.
You know, it doesn't matter. They'll say
It's in everything.
Isis, Osiris, Horus,
Right.
Mary, Joseph, Jesus. It's just everywhere. And so when we start to look into this,
So the next stage, the next is the caregiver.
and we've posted this up on the church page.
All right.
And we're actually working through each one of these, and even some of this are things that I had previously worked, and I'd also worked in Kabbalah when I was working the Kabbalistic Tree of Life. That was the sigil work on the wall of my basement. Spent 12 years at that. So I had some. But it really helps when you have a system. And oh shit, I don't think I have anything but wine. So it really helps when we have a system of magic that can take us through this one step at a time. And there's tasks that you take where you can recognize what patterns are dominant in yourself. And then as you read through, you can recognize, well, this is similar. Yes, I've experienced something like this. Yes, this has happened to me in my life. Yes. And as you work through that and you go through that, then you come out to the other side. So, these archetypal patterns, we can then begin to take that shadow side or that pattern and use it to change the outcomes that we've been experiencing over and over again. And we can take it from a subconscious level to a conscious level now. And we're very aware. And so that's where we're at with this. So we will be offering seminars on the church workbook, where we're going to do an 8-week course, $40 to us and $20 for the book. And we may offer the book cheaper in PDF format, which might be your best bet for that, because there will be hyperlinks inside the book. And those hyperlinks are going to take you to videos and things that we want you to watch. And we just want you to keep an open mind, you know. We want you to realize Abraxas. Some people might say Christ, Satan, Lucifer, or Christos, whichever they choose to call it. I choose to call it Lucifer, for me. So for me, that rebel archetype is the archetype that says, no, I don't have to believe this program that you program me that I have to live anymore. It doesn't mean that you don't have to hurt someone, that you have to hurt someone to not do that. What it means is that now I have a right, to go on a vacation and not be told I'm going to be homeless. And that was just a scenario for me. And that's one of my shadow workings. So, no, I don't have to do that. You want to hold a house over my head that I've sunk every dime in for the last decade, over a decade, then keep it. I don't want it anymore. The price is too high. I want to be able to wake up in the morning and if I want to get up and get in my car and drive across the country, I can. I don't want to have to answer to someone like a child at almost 50 years old. So, what you're going to find different instances in every pattern. And you're going to be able to deepen yourself, you know. And based on yourself and based on what you value. So for me, I want to help the needy. I want to help the suffering. I want to help the disabled. I want to help the elderly. I'm real opposed to the way that the government is creating people to become dependent upon them and then keeping them where they can barely survive.
Right.
And so I want to open food pantries. I want to help the community. So when we get into talking about being the rebel against the government, being the whatever, for me, my solution to that was that if everyone got involved in community and what part of community mattered to them, then we could all make a difference. That'll outweigh anything they can do. And I believe we can do this, and I believe we're heading to this. I think so many people are waking up these days, all over the place, and they're saying, "Hey, you know, my self-interest does matter," and I,
what I think does matter.
What? Yeah.
You know,
it is
I
important.
Think matters. You know, I don't want you thinking for me.
Right.
What I think about matters. You know, and that's the one program they try to throw out there is, we're going to think for you. You're not allowed to think. You know, no, that doesn't work for me. You know, I want to live according to what matters to me most. You know, and be able to express that. I want to be free. I want to be, you know, feel free. I want to feel joy and bliss and love. You know, that all-encompassing love. You know, that's what I want to feel.
And I want to see our country come back.
Right. I want to see our country come back, too. A lot of my family were they were founders of this country. You know, and I've seen what it went to.
And we can make a difference.
We can make a difference.
We can.
A person who's awake
can make a difference.
Can make a huge difference.
If we can give any of you help to learn to gain inner peace and true joy, if we can give you that, just a little piece of it, then we've done what we've set out to do.
Well, that's the caregiver. I mean, you're the very nature of your being is to care.
Right.
You know, that's why the elite want you to think that you should murder care. You should do a ritual to kill off care because that's the nature of your being.
And we have a whole thing on nihilistic thinking and nihilistic programming. And, you
that's
know,
when
you go across that abyss and you strip that nihilism away, just not when your values do not match your reality. Is that how I can't remember how Nietzsche says it.
Yeah.
But that's what it is. It's when your values are devalued. He said devalued.
Yeah.
When your values...
Your highest values become devalued.
Devalued. Nihilism.
Right.
And it's been done to all of us.
That's like humility and pride.
All of us.
That's like humility and pride. Both paths can't be only one of them can be. So that's nihilism.
All of
us. They
us
cancel each other out.
have been programmed. And I thought I was awake, you know. I mean, I thought, oh, well, I'm awake. I know, you know, I'm seeing these things. I'm believing that, you know, these, what everybody else wants to call conspiracy theories. And then I went through this course. I went through this course with a man who created this course for me. And I realized just how weak I wasn't. and I saw things on such deeper level. And what he brought me to was he helped me come back across that abyss that I had gone across. I had been stuck out there.
And you didn't want to come back, man.
Well,
you didn't. You didn't want to come back.
No,
it's joyful to not to,
I didn't.
to be.
I mean, I photographed my descent into the underworld.
Yeah.
I mean, and people don't realize, you know, and I worshipped my shadow side that was so destructive, and I needed to bring my dark and my light in alignment. And did I do it in a day? No. Am I still working on it? Yes. Is it constant? Yes. Is it ever going to end? No. It's not. It's going to be an everyday process. It's a journey, and we live the journey. You know.
See, for me, it was always the issue of contradiction. You know, there's so many contradictions in life. You know, how can you possibly be happy with all these contradictions happening? Okay? And it would cause me to, with each contradiction, it would cause me to kind of feel I have to be a particular way. You know, I have to think a particular way until I reevaluated. And I realized that I didn't need to do that. I could resolve those contradictions within myself. I had already learned about paradox. You know, everything in our existence is a paradox. It's a paradox. It's essence, existence. And we're made of that essence. And existence is made of that essence. So we have a paradox here. A paradox would be like light and darkness. We can't appreciate light without darkness.
We appreciate life because
of death. Because at some point we're going to go through that ultimate initiation of death. That's what the Thelemite calls it, physical death.
And you know, we do this because we love doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, this is what we want to do. We want to help people. And that's why we do it. You know, I mean, there's people out there that have given a bad name because they're phony charlatans and they want to charge people and not really give back to the people. They want to sell you some Goetia working that, you know, just go buy the damn Lesser Key by Aleister Crowley illustrated for $9 if you can't find it on PDF for free, which you probably can.
You can find it on PDF, just print it out and you're good
you know,
to go.
There you go. But, you know, it's not that's
you
want to
learn about old Aeonic magic. For myself, I'm not really interested in old Aeonic magic. I'm interested in the magic of this eon, the magic of...
I mean, all the summoning that I did and all the things I brought up to view that I was able to photograph and all that, it doesn't mean squat, really. I mean, so I can see it, I could summon it, and they can't. You know what matters is...
Caused a big contradiction, didn't it?
As we can teach you.
And it had to be resolved, didn't it?
Cause and effect. Because, you know, the reality is, I am responsible. I am the God of my world. And when I can do the right thing, I get the result I want. And I mean the right thing for me. Because I don't like right and wrong. There just is. And so, but I don't have to hurt people to manifest.
Well, I don't think it just is. I think it's effectiveness. In 555, I talk about effectiveness. And in that video I watched the other day, it talked about effectiveness. It was talking about our personality type and personal growth.
And
how
we
it
have
occurs.
we encompass less than 2% of the
And
population with our
you
personality
have
type, and we're the
it's
same
the
personality
architect.
type.
It's the architect. You know, it's what people seek to develop.
And we're
in
creators.
themselves.
We're
Right.
both very high on the creator scale, the magician scale. Our scores are just up there. And Mark being a
Mine
number
was the
33
highest
life
one.
path, which is just about unheard of. He's off the chain. And I mean, his gnosis wisdom, I sit here and I look at his books and I don't know if I'll ever catch up with what he knows. I mean, I'm like, wow. Fortunately, Mark is a very smart man. And he cut through a lot of work that would take me straight to the outcome.
Well, I had started that before with the discourses of the Anointed One. When I had gone through the anointing myself after performing the ritual in Ordo Stelle et Serpente, I went through this very same process. So for myself, it's a review, but it was also recognizing those experiences that were important, in developing the grades, the understanding of the grades. So after the anointing, I started receiving these messages, communications, and I would write a little bit with the communication, and they just kept building off of each other. Okay? And these became the discourses of the Anointed One. And they represented the whole tree of life, but it was restructured. What was odd was this was done in 1997 in the Path of Initiation. I believe it was published in 2014, recently. The author had discussed the restructuring of the Western mystery tradition. So, and I didn't even know that. That was just gnosis, knowing without knowing. Doing the work, really. So after receiving these messages, I realized they were instructions on the path, the tree. But it was stripped down because I had already realized the corresponding associations. I'd already understood these laws of magic and alchemy before any of that. Before I had encountered any of that.
And I think, in all honesty, we just keep working what we're working. And as we're going through it, and as Mark is taking me through it as my mentor, because he's already done this, I'm going through it, and he's taking me through it, and as a result, we're taking you guys.
Riding me.
Yeah.
Babalon's supposed to be riding the beast, man.
You are my beast. So.
Yeah.
So we are going to continue going through this stuff. We're going to offer crash courses that are crash 8-week or 10-week courses. Probably 10.
Yeah.
I think it really needs 10. And you're still not going to be done, but by the time you get through with the 10-week crash course,
it'll be like when I took the myth of the hero.
You will be well on your way.
It was 6 weeks. I took a course on the myth of the hero in community college.
I want people to realize too, Mark, that when me and Mark
accelerated.
Mark did tell me he was left-hand path. Mark didn't tell me he was Luciferian when we met. He knew I was a witch. I listened to my hoodoo, voodoo, golden dawn, ceremonial magician as well, tarot card reader, and Mark is all of that and 10 times more. I can't even begin to describe the lineage of Marc. So, I don't even think I could possibly finish before I die every book that the man's ever read. It's that many. But the reality here is that we just want to help people, and we're out here, and we're going to do it for a minimal fee. And we're going to do the video classes, and when we do the seminar, we'll probably go